I hate the cancel culture conversation because what it brings to the forefront is how many people are willing to just fully suspend disbelief, how much patience and understanding we're all encouraged to give to men who do violative things to women. So, a little while back, there was an article that got posted called Canceled at 17. What I hate about this article is it's very interesting definition of canceled. The author, whose name is Elizabeth Wheel, details a story about a 17-year-old boy who was canceled at his local high school for sharing the underage nudes of his teenage girlfriend. As a response to him sharing those nudes, a group of girls wrote his name on the wall along with many other names of boys to watch out for on campus. This article was quite frustrating to me because, first of all, it's written by a woman. And in the article, the language that the author uses is just quite suspicious. There's a lot of fluffy language that really downplays what happened. So let's read this bullshit. In the article, his girlfriend is described as psychedelically beautiful. Fiona was Diego's first real girlfriend. She was almost psychedelically beautiful, pale, celestial skin, a whole galaxy of freckles, a supernova of lush hair. This made everything, even the pandemic, okay. Diego would do online school and skate and hang out with Fiona. Sometimes she broke plans with Diego to go on hikes with her parents, which Diego's mother, what? Who cares that she's psychedelically beautiful? I'm sorry. He shared. Okay, let's keep reading. Okay. Then, in the middle of last summer, Diego went to a party. He got drunk, and Diego really fucked up here. Everyone, including Diego, agrees on that. So please consider setting aside judgment for just a moment. He showed a nude of his beautiful girlfriend to a few kids there. Now, what I didn't like about this was establishes her as just, oh my God, so psychedelically beautiful. And then buffers, like really buffers the punch of him sharing a nude of an underage girl with a group of friends. And of course, his girlfriend was upset about this, no matter how celestially beautiful she was, and decided to break up with him. And then his name ended up on the wall of boys to watch out for because of what happened. And what I don't love about this is a lot of this cancel culture discourse just happens to be so frequently about women not quite calling out the abusive actions of men. I can't help but notice that that is something that is so prevalent among a lot of these conversations. A lot of people are sort of describing women as calling out their abusers or people who have violated them in some sort of way as cancel culture. So frequently, the feelings of the women, the feelings of the girls who are impacted by this are undermined and downplayed, all because of the reputation of a man. This is a grown woman describing this boy sharing underage photos of his girlfriend as though it is some injustice that he faced. It's very frustrating for me to read. The way that this author writes about this teenage boy sharing photos of his girlfriend as though he had no choice but to do it. Of course you would share the nudes of your celestially beautiful girlfriend. And it's so aggravating because no, that's wrong 100% of the time. And as you can imagine, this article did not go off well. It was not well received. Quite a few people were upset by it, and some people did some digging. And that's when the Gawker decided to post an article. In the Gawker article, there are quite a few things that pop up. And one of the things that is revealed, which gave a lot more context to this whole thing, was that Elizabeth Wheel actually has a child that used to go to the same exact school where this incident happened, right? Now, the child was not currently enrolled in school while Diego was at school, but that is how the story arrived on her desk because it's something that's happening currently in her community. What was also discovered, and this is the really important part, is that the list of boys to look out for only appeared in the girls' restroom because the school administration was not properly punishing boys on campus who did indeed sexually violate the girls on campus. A really important part of this conversation is that there have been a change to what are called the Title IX federal rules. And Title IX is a federal law that was established in 1972 that prohibits discrimination based on sex or gender. And these rules were changed, I believe, 2 or so years ago. And what it essentially did is made it harder for people to report sexual harassment. And they did that by changing the language ever so slightly so that now if you experience sexual harassment, it really does have to arise to a really, really high standard, or else nothing's going to be done about it, right? It made it much, 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 much harder to describe certain actions as sexual harassment. Additionally, and this is the most important part, the new change also made it so that if someone was violated off campus, that they were not going to receive any sort of reprimand on campus, which was not exactly how things went in the past. So what this means is that girls can go to a party, be sexually assaulted by a fellow classmate, and then they will have to go to classes with this person because it doesn't violate Title IX. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of girls at the school who felt like they were not actually getting justice for what had happened to them. And that's when they decided to go in the women's restroom and make a list of boys to look out for. Now, I think it's actually really important to point out the way that this happened, because in the women's restroom, obviously you're only expecting for other women to be in the women's restroom or other girls to be in the girls' restroom, right? So it's something that's kind of done in a really secretive, almost private, very, very private way. And maybe this is going to make me sound like a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but especially after the repeal of Roe v. Wade, I don't exactly feel like this is too far-fetched for me to say. But I think a lot of this discourse, a lot of these conversations are going to continue to go in a direction where it's just harder and harder and harder for anyone to get justice for being violated, for women especially, for girls especially, to get justice for being violated. And so what I think more people need to start doing is having these very insular private conversations where we're talking about, here's who you need to watch out for, because they're not going to be actively removed from these spaces. I hate the cancel culture conversation because what it brings to the forefront is how many people are willing to just fully suspend disbelief, how much patience and understanding we're all encouraged to give to men who do violative things to women, right? This article is so full of the author basically saying his future is ruined because he made one simple mistake, right? She kind of says a lot of stuff like that. And there's a lot of fluffy language that really downplays what happened. And this is a similar thing that we see in so many of the other conversations that we've had about cancel culture, right? When a comedian jerks off in front of a woman, apparently that's just something that shouldn't have been a big deal. When another comedian pressures a woman into having sex and she kind of doesn't really want to do it and feels pressured, that's just something that she's supposed to accept because she went on a date with him, right? It's going to be harder and harder and harder for women, especially, to call out this shit, because we're folding cancel culture into women being able to stand up for themselves, into women being able to stand up against violations, right? And so I do believe that to some degree, we should start looking out for ourselves, right? I'm part of several groups in Los Angeles where women post stories of abusive people in the LA area. Because here's the thing, you guys, and this is an important point to make. Even when these people get arrested, go to jail, have charges rallied against them, more often than not, the men who violate women are not punished. One of the things that's interesting to me about the groups I'm part of is that I see these men all the fucking time out and about, right? Even though LA is so big, it's really so small. It's so common for me to run into men who are known abusers in LA who we whisper about because someone else went and called them out. And look, I've watched this happen. Someone went and called them out, didn't receive justice. Now they're being spoken about as though there's some crazy unhinged bitch, and the abuser goes free. So To some degree, I think we have to start looking out for ourselves because the system is not going to do it. The system is not going to do it. I don't believe that the kind of world where Roe v. Wade could be repealed and so many people are just willing to accept that maybe some women are going to be raped and have to be forced to have their children. I don't believe that kind of world is going to be one where we're going to be seeing a lot of justice for this shit. That's what really frustrates me. You know, I will say that maybe to some degree there is something to be said about the mob mentality, about how social media has really made that worse, and how, you know, that stuff, that there's something there, right? So I'm not going to say that cancel culture doesn't fully not exist, but it's just interesting how frequently the cancel culture discourse is really about a man not appreciating that a woman stood up to him, not appreciating that she brought the abuse to the forefront, not appreciating that she had the audacity to draw attention to his abusive behavior. I'm tired of seeing women silenced. I'm tired of seeing girls silenced. I'm tired of people feeling like there's no reason to call out this shit because nothing's going to happen anyway. So this whole story bothered me because you really do get the fuller context when you realize that this woman had a kid at the school and that's how she's connected to it, and that the list on the wall was not these girls trying to cancel these boys. It was them trying to protect each other. It was them trying to protect each other in a situation where the administration is not properly punishing boys who violate them. And this isn't the first time that we've heard a story of girls organizing in this way on campus and then having the administration come against them. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I would love to know what you guys have to say about it. This was a story that really frustrated me because as I was reading it, I was like, I can't believe that a woman wrote this. And that's the thing that's also quite concerning to me about a lot of this stuff, is that there are quite a few women who write these things, who advocate for these things. Title IX only really changed because of Betsy DeVos, right? Like, there are a lot of women right now who are sort of moving through the world in this way where they are defending abusive men and really normalizing the idea that women should just sort of accept that abuse. Shouldn't call it out because that means they'll be a cancel culture person or da-da-da-da-da. Like, you know what? Even before the internet, even before cancel culture, a lot of times if a guy did something shitty to a girl, it was pretty common for him to be ostracized in his school environment. Like, come on, you guys. This is not a new thing. And I think that this author really wanted to use all of the discourse around cancel culture to get their article popping, I guess. And it did not go the way that I'm sure she was expecting. What do you say when people are starting to describe you standing up for yourself against a violation as cancel culture? Like, where do you go from there?